speaking very firmly in a personal capacity. My background is 15 years working in central government in Britain in a variety of occupations, and I did a lot of work in recent years on a thing called Power of Information, which is a strand of work I commissioned for ministers in 2007 that involved Tom Richard Allen and others to try and open up government data. Someone approached me yesterday to say, well, we've got this Iraq inquiry coming up under Sir John Chilcot, which will presumably have lots of information and stuff generated around it. How can we frame a sort of an electronic terms of reference for how the Iraq inquiry works online? You're a civil servant, you understand these things. What's your take on it? So overnight I wrote a blog post, which if the screen ever works, we can maybe show some of. But I basically teed up a problem to say, well, the Lord Justice Scott's inquiry in 1996, if you remember that, Scott did his inquiry into arms to Iraq and the Supergun, I think it was off the back of Supergun. He received, I think it was 160,000 documents as part of that investigation in '96. And that was it wasn't in a pre-internet age, it was '96, but no one there had really thought about data reuse, data mashing, sort of large-scale online investigative actions. You see the Guardian recently, and I've got the young man's name who's here today, Simon Willis, and he's quite a brilliant crowdsourced approach to metadata. Okay. So, So I started to think, well, let's assume the Chilcot inquiry gets a lot of paper. Now, even in the civil service, we don't deal a lot with printed paper anymore. It's done electronically. And the medium of choice is PDF, for a variety of reasons, good and bad, but that's what they use. And it's a good archiving standard, and it has certain strengths to it. There'll be some redaction will happen, because it's a security inquiry, so some names will be deleted, and some things will be deleted for good security reasons. And the way that process is done is the best way to do it actually is a mark pen, and then you scan it in again, and then you create a PDF. So many of the PDFs used in government don't have any real metadata in them at all. It's very uncommon to find meaningful metadata. So my thesis, and this is unproven, is that the Chilcot inquiry will receive a very large pile of PDFs of stuff, and it will have to hand sort them somehow or other. I have no way of machine sorting that, because there'll be scanned documents, there'll be images of documents. They won't necessarily, and I'm speculating, they won't necessarily be OCR. So it will have the mother of all data mounted, and so it will have to handle, I think, So what I did was write up, very briefly, what I thought the Chilcot inquiry could ask departments of sensitive information to put in the metadata. So basic stuff like, if it's a communication between two people that's in this PDF, should it say who it's to and who it's from? It should have the date of origination, the place of origination, some keywords or tags about what it's about. If it's an image or a map, what it is describing in that image or map. So that there is a chance for machine readability of this stuff, one way or another. Now, and that the inquiry should put that burden back on the departments that provide the information to it, because it feels about right. Then I kind of thought this got me thinking a bit more about, well, how should its web estate define itself for the inquiry? Lord Hutton's inquiry in 2003-4 was revelatory at the time. It was very unusual to have this website with a transcript that was there every day, all the documents were there. It was a real revelation, but wouldn't be adequate today. There isn't enough information in there. Lord Justice Hutton only put up documents that council used in the case. He didn't put up all the other stuff he had, so it's very limited. So I thought, well, perhaps we should ask the inquiry to ensure that it publishes everything it gets, more or less the moment it gets it, and puts it all up online so that other people can use it and reuse it. The website perhaps should be done with a view to being consumed in Iraq. After all, it's what the inquiry is about. So it should have a low graphics or a low bandwidth version for people in Iraq who might not have the bandwidth and might not have computers that can keep up with heavy pages. Should they talk to Iraqi ISPs about mirroring or hosting? There's one I don't know. What could the BBC do? Things on the website should conform to modern data standards. Things like, I'm not very technical, but I understand these things are called RESTful approaches, where the data has static URIs and URLs, so the stuff can be linked to them. The inquiry should assume that people will reuse their information in all sorts of ways, just as we're doing with the Guardian. That should be a presumption that that's going to happen, and which is a good thing for democracy. Similarly, one of the things about Hutton was that the video stream was constantly playing out on Skype, more or less. Now, in this inquiry, could the video stream be presented in such a way that it's copyright-free? Very important that the news broadcasters don't get copyrighted accidentally by providing the service to the inquiry to broadcasting. And that the transcript is timestamped and linked to the inquiry. If you look at Hansard, and the High Society have had a lot of fun with this, Hansard is out of sync with the video timestamp on the parliamentary video stream. So you can't jump from Hansard to your MP's speech. You have to rematch it. So small things can be done to do that. Can the video stuff be archived on the web so that it is available there on the web for people to reuse in maybe down at Southampton in Nigel Shadbolt's facility there, or maybe in Ops's large storage capability attached to HMSA. Similarly, for all the things about video, they should be done for audio, because in Iraq and other countries, I'm speculating a bit, the bandwidths aren't always consistent enough to consume video, but you can consume audio or download this as podcasts. That's easier to do. So audio should also be made available. And that's kind of it really. I just wanted to start a little debate on how we as a technology community can assist the independent Chilcot inquiry to present its information on the web in such a way as its digital openness can be maximised and the potential for reuse is the greatest. I don't know, blog post on this, I don't put it up now, I guess. That's me doing my best Harry Hill impression. Or Heston Blumenthal or something like that. The URL is if you just Google that for William Perrin. And I set this in a framework of something I call Blackhall, which is a metonym for a new way of doing Whitehall. You just take Whitehall and adapt, adopt modern knowledge working collaboration tools. And I call this thing Blackhall, and it's a brand I'm seeking to develop to encourage discussion and work on government.